friend, my name is Doombabe, and today we are going to be talking about Clannad, which is a 23-episode slice-of-life anime that was created by Kyoto Animation and released in 2007? 2007. It tells the story of Tomoya Okazaki, a teenager that, for the most part, doesn't really care about school and, for all intents and purposes, is considered a delinquent. When he's walking to school, he comes across Nagisa, who he ends up befriending and decides to help her achieve her goal of... I don't remember. But he meets like 4 other girls and he helps bring them together as friends and stuff. So I really wasn't too excited for this opening, if we're totally honest. Every time I saw it, it just didn't come off as an anime opening, if that makes any sense. It felt more like the opening sequence to a visual novel style type game, and I know that this was based off of a visual novel, so maybe that's why they created the intro in the way that they did. But for me, it just kind of rubbed me the wrong way. Like, it just felt out of place. I mean, it was just composed of scenes from the anime with stills of each character with their names, while the song Megumeru Kukul by Euphonis played in the background, which really wasn't exactly that entertaining of a song to begin with. Unlike the opening, I totally dug the closing, which is pretty much a complete 180 from what I normally have to say about anime, but I just absolutely adored the closing sequence chosen. I 100% adored the Dango family dancing around in time with the adorable song playing called Dango Daikazoku. Daikazoku, god damn, words are hard. It was cute, it brought the element of Nagisa's weird obsession with the Dango forward, and just all in all, I thought it was absolutely adorable. It was like a cute little, lullaby. I know that Clannad kind of has a cult following, and I know that this was supposed to be really heart-wrenching, so maybe I set the bar a little too high. But if we're totally honest, I didn't enjoy the writing for this anime whatsoever. The story just felt absolutely ridiculous. They crammed like 4 different stories into one plot, and they, for the life of themselves, could not properly execute it. And maybe that has to do with the fact that it was a visual novel. I did not play the game, but I'm assuming that there are 4 different routes that you can take based off of which character, I guess, you pursue or whatever. And I guess they tried to cram all 4 of those storylines into one anime, but it did not turn out well. Now, I didn't necessarily have a problem with each story itself. Each one had its good points, with the exception of Kotomi's, because honestly, that entire arc with Kotomi was just, her entire character and backstory were shit. But other than her, I could have totally gotten into what they were trying to throw at me, but the emphasis here is on the words could have. Because the series starts and ends on Nagisa's and Tomoya's relationship thing, romance shit going on, which I guess makes sense, you know, ending the series on something you're already familiar with. But between that, we had that supernatural shit going on with Fuko, we had the stupid sob story with Kotomi, we had that shit going on with Yuhei's sister, if that's how I pronounce his name. And then there was whatever the hell was going on with that weird robot, the alternate dimension thing. I mean, they explained it at the end, but it was just so completely distracting for the entirety of its duration throughout the anime that I just thought they could have done without it. Like, there was just so much crap going on in the span of like 20 episodes that the writers were entirely incapable of properly fleshing out the stories and the characters for me to really give a damn about them. I mean, I'll admit for the most part, I liked Tomoya's overall character. He was snarky and sassy, and he provided enough laughs to tide me over when I was legitimately considering just dropping the series and moving on to something else. But even then, he wasn't exactly the most thought out character, and I couldn't exactly understand his motives for being so insistent on helping these girls who were as flat as a pancake, and not the nice pancakes that you would get from like IHOP that are all nice and fluffy and have some sort of dimension. No, I'm talking about pancakes that are like sad and flat and might as well be crepes. Because these characters were so boring and two-dimensional that I found myself genuinely irritated with every single one of them by maybe like the 5th episode. They just they just acted like retards. I mean, really, my favorite character in the entire series was the fucking tsundere. I hate tsunderes with a passion. I think they are a cancer in the anime world. But the tsundere in Clannad was my favorite. That is how bad these characters were. There were 2 OVAs that were created after the series ended, and the one that I did watch had more plot and character dimension in those 30 minutes than the rest of the entire goddamn series. Like, seriously, in 30 minutes, I was teary-eyed by the end, the story was tugging at my heartstrings, and I really wished that that was the story for Clannad and not what bullshit they had thrown together for the, like, 20-some-odd episodes that they created. Because just, I'm sorry, but none of those stories, those little, like, mini plots inside the main plot, belonged together in the slightest. As opposed to the writing, the visuals were pretty nice for all intents and purposes. The animation was smooth and fluid, the character designs, while not entirely the most memorable, were lovely, and there was a lot of attention to detail. I especially liked how the school's crest on the uniform jackets changed based off of which grade the students were in, because when I went to private school we had something very similar happen, except our shirt colors changed, not just the crest. But oh my god, their eyes, what is wrong with their eyes? It was like Tomoya and Nagisa's dad were the only people that didn't have weird slanted downset eyes that I'm pretty sure were like some sort of design flaw at some point, but just no one cared to fix it. And it looked so stupid. I mean, by like episode 20, I was used to how they looked, but for the most part, every time I looked at a girl's face, I kind of cringed. I mean, really, whose idea was that? How is that considered to be cute? I mean, the series, for the most part, really relied heavily on the whole moe factor, but they completely obliterated whatever moe they managed to crunch up in that horrible story with those stupid eyes. So if I'm 100% honest, I was really let down by Clannad. I was told it was super good, I told it was heart-wrenching, I mean, everyone's heard of it. So again, whoa, maybe I did set the bar a little too high for the series, but holy crap, I'm sorry, but this show was bad. I found a lot of the really emotional scenes to be forced, and as I mentioned earlier, the stories were just too rushed. It didn't help that the characters were really flat, and the English voice actors got really annoying sometimes. And there are some voice actors sounded way too young to be middle or high schoolers. I don't remember how old they were. But then there are other voice actors that just sounded way too old for them to be teenagers. There wasn't any sort of consistency there. Also, apparently Greg Ayers cannot get a role without squealing into a mic for 5 minutes at a time. But I thought the soundtrack was wonderful, so that's a plus. Anyways, those are my thoughts on Clannad. Have you seen it? Which story arc was your favorite? Let me know in the comments below. And I know there are some of you that are going to say, but Doom Babe, after story is where it gets really good. But let's be honest, unless for some reason I get a surge of requests for this anime, I'm not going to waste my time with any other Clannad title I come across. Like, there's just no way in God's green earth that I'm wasting any more time on this. Otherwise, you can find all of my social media as well as my Patreon in the description below. My camera's dying, oh no! Happy unbirthday, and I will see you later. Bye!